The next thing we'll have a look at is the actual ability to save certain cell formats, right? Based on any of the specifics that you give it. And then you can apply that cell format across to other items. That cell format will then stay on your order toolbar until you clear it or you replace it with something else. Perfect. Now let's have a look in the order toolbar what that actually looks like. So if we go into the order toolbar and over here in our quick formatting section, we see that we have these 6 icons over here where I have 4 of them that have already been highlighted and 2 that haven't. So I've gone ahead and pre-populated these selected formats, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But let's see how this functions now. Now, let's say we're having a look at this working paper right here, and we can see over here that we have a reference at the very top to the working paper's name. And for our firm, how we like to show our references is by having them in bold, right, and in red, and just in that cell. So what you can then do is, I know that the first one that I've saved here is bold, red, right? And then you'll see that it will change it to that format. One thing you need to note with formatting, right, is that it will change it based on like it will change everything in that cell to the same format based on everything that you input over here, right? So if I had a smaller font, that means it's going to change the font. If I have different colors, if I have cells highlighted, anything like that, that will change. So we can then go ahead and move this back to the 16 that we had before, because that's just red and bold that I had before that with the smaller font. Perfect. Now let's have a look at another instance. Maybe right over here, we can see we have these two 15,000s that are completely out, and we want to highlight those so that it's something we can come back to and refer back to at some point when we continue this working paper. Now, over here, the second item that I've saved allows me to then have my items highlighted in yellow and then have it in red as well, right? Then the next thing we'll have a look at is maybe when we have references to specific items or to notes, we might use bold and green and italics, right? So in here, I'm going to say note one, right? Note one, revert to note one. And then what I will do right here is I'm going to use the third item, and we will see that has then changed this format as well. The next one we'll have a look at over here is the totals format that we have over here. So I want these totals to also have the same format as it has over there. That's something I've pre-populated, and I can just click on my totals format right there. And obviously, like I said, it's going to take the formatting of that cell, all of it that you've used to pre-populate this with. So the cell that I used clearly was not an actual number, so I just need to update this so that it will actually be proper numbers again. Perfect. So let's have a look at how we would go about actually changing and updating these items so that it will be what we have customized for each individual, right? So we'll then navigate back to the order toolbar, and what we'll see over here, right, in the quick formatting section is that we have an option to clear all. Now, when you clear all, it resets everything to the state where it is unsaved, right? So we're going to do that just to start off with so that we clear all of the items that are already saved over here so that we can start off fresh, and I can show you how we're going to save each of these items. Now that that's all cleared out, we can then move over to this Formats tab that I have over here. Now, we can now see what I've been using to reference to save these items, right? So the very first format that I have is just a reference, so I've named it as such. And now if I want to save it, I'm going to click on the cell that I want to use the formatting of, right? And then I'm going to click on this right there. one of these icons that are not highlighted, right? So before we do that, maybe we want to make some changes. We noted when we were applying it over here that it wasn't at the correct size, right? So we need it at a font size of 16. So let's go ahead and apply that over here, move that over to font size 16, and then move back to the order toolbar, and we can then click on that first item. Now, wherever I go and click on this, right, and it will then apply that same formatting. So let's just quickly just change this one just so that we can see that, okay, that is now changed. And when we then go ahead and click on that, we will then see that it gets updated super quickly, right? So let's go ahead, populate the rest of our items, and then we will go and apply them. Right? So items to consider later, that's what I like to have on my second. Then notes, right? I see my notes is aligned to the left, but I usually like them to be aligned to the middle, right? So I'm going to save that again in the middle, and then I'm going to save that as my third item. Now, totals. In totals, I've actually, in the cell that we are referencing, I've actually just typed in the actual number of the actual word, right? But if we go ahead and we type in a number, that will then allow us to apply whatever formatting that we want to apply to the number to be applied to all of our formatting when we use this function, right? So I want it to be in the accounting format without any zeros, right? After the decimal. Perfect. So now that I know what the format is that I want and I've got the correct borders, right, I can then go ahead and I can save that in the next slot. Now, these two I've left open so that we can kind of work on these and decide what we want to do, right? So let's say in this case, I want to have a place where I can reference that, where I can highlight items that I'm referencing that might be, Excel formulas in that cell, right? So what I will do is I'll italics that, and maybe I want it to be highlighted in light green for Excel, right? And then I want the wording within it to actually remain black, and I want it's going to be formula, right? That's where my formula is going to be within. But again, I don't like it if it's sitting on the left-hand side, so I'm going to align it in the middle. So the next one we can do is one where we even let's try indentations, right? So often when we are working with these items, we might have lists that we are making up, right? And it's so difficult to always have to come back here and then click and click and click until that in indentation, until we reach the indentation that we want, right? So I'm going to say indent, right? And let's say indent 4, right? So that I know that I've indented this 4 times. So I'm going to click this button 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this is the indentation that then goes 4 times inward. Perfect. So let's then apply these two to the order toolbar, right? We then move to the order toolbar to our quick formatting setting. We see that this one we want to use format 5 on number 5. This is that one. We'll click on that. Now it's saved that format. We'll go on to the next one. Oh, just a second, give it time. There we go. It's been saved. We'll go on to the next one and then we'll save that one as well. Now that we have all of those saved, we can then now go and start to use these items, right? So let's say right over here, I've got totals, right? And I want to have this at an indentation of 4. I can then go ahead and use the format number 6, right? Because I know that that is where I've saved my indent number 4, right? And we will then see it will change that to be exactly the same as we had it before. right? So then I can put it in bold because that's how I like my totals to be, right? And let's apply totals to this one over here. So I know that my totals was number 4, so I can click number 4 and we can see that that has now been fixed. But maybe right underneath here, I want to show that these items that are above are actually Excel formulas, right? So maybe I'll add just an arrow up. I do know that this arrow is used as a tick mark for various other purposes, but this is just for purpose of showing what we can do with our quick formats, right? So I know that my Excel formulas are put in the slot number 5. So I'll go ahead, click slot number 5, and then we can see that that then gets updated. And it is just that simple to do this. We can copy that over. I can paste it over here as well as we have a formula there. And then again, I can just apply it, highlight the items that I want, apply it. And if I wanted to put a note over here as well, I can put that under note 2. And we remember that my notes are sitting in the formats at number 3. So I can then click on number 3 and we will see that that gets updated. That is how simple the quick formatting works. Then if you want to go and you want to change one of these items, unfortunately, you would have to go and clear out all of them and then resave them and replace them. And that's why I recommend that you have a space, some document or something to reference to yourself what you want to have in each of these format spaces so that you can also remember it yourself and so that when you are changing it, you always know what you've changed where. Perfect. So, yeah, that is how that works. And that is the completion of our quick formatting session. So let's move on to the quiz.